Shalom and welcome back to Karen Biavna. There's an old story told of a darshan that had a drush on Parshas Korach that he was very fond of. But how could he find an excuse to speak about that when it wasn't Parshas Korach? So he had the following trick. He would drop his handkerchief as if accidentally, pretend that he couldn't find it, look for it and couldn't find it. And he would say, well, it must be that the handkerchief was swallowed by the earth, just like Korach, which reminds me, I have a beautiful drush on Parshas Korach that I'd like to share with you. The truth is that one doesn't need tricks to make a discussion about machlokas relevant. The Yetzer Hara of machlokas is ever present. So I thought perhaps it might be a good idea to discuss a number of brief ideas, 4 or 5 thoughts, 4 or 5 ideas, that if we ponder those thoughts, it will help us overcome the Yetzer Hara of machlokas. Number 1, to zoom out. Very often, there are certain issues which we feel are so important, so earth-shattering, and we feel we need to make a fuss about them. But if we zoom out and look at the larger scheme of things, we'll sometimes realize how insignificant those things are. I once read in Reader's Digest, there's a certain pitcher, I don't remember for which baseball team, that when asked how he's able to avoid feeling the pressure when the bases are loaded, the count is 3-2, a really important game, millions of people watching the game. So he said that he tells himself that another number of million years, when the earth ceases to exist, it probably won't make that much of a difference whether he pitches a strike or a ball. So, looking at the big picture, that's number 1. Number 2, if we remember the great schar that we receive for keeping our mouths shut, that's something that could help. Chazal tell us, Tola eretz al blima, says the pasuk. Chazal darshan that pasuk, the whole world exists for a person that's boleim piv b'sh'as mriva, a person that's able to leave his mouth shut. The secret is of a good diet, and Shlom Bayis is the same, keeping one's mouth shut. Another point that we need to keep in mind is how much damage, how much harm results from machlokas. It's a famous letter that's quoted from the Rambam about the fact that philosophers have written about it, and Nevi'im have expressed nevuos, and cities have been destroyed. So many have discussed the negative downsides, how much harm has resulted from machlokas. They still haven't reached the full extent of presentation of how terrible machlokas is. A person who's involved in machlokas could wreck Shlom Bayis, could wreck his marriage, could wreck his family, could lose his job, could bring illnesses, could wreck his whole community. Had Rab Steinman once said that kulam aovim, kulam urim, kulam giborim. The problem begins with chulam poschem es bihem. When people begin to speak, sometimes that creates a machlokas and causes all the problems. In addition, if a person realizes that at the end of the day he gets what he deserves, that could make it that much easier for him to avoid machlokas. When trying to put my kids to sleep, generally speaking unsuccessfully, when they're in the middle of an exciting book, I tell them, I know what happens in the end. The good guys win and the bad guys lose. Sometimes it happens more quickly, sometimes less quickly, sometimes in Olam Hazeh, sometimes in Olam Haba, but a person gets what he's meant to get. Along similar lines, if we understand that Yisurim are mechaper, that's also something that can help us avoid machlokas. Any Yisurim person suffers, that's something which comes off his chov that he has in the Olam HaEmes. The Chafetz Chaim in Shmiras HaLashon speaks, he quotes a midrash, Tzarech Adam Lios Samech B'Yisurim Yosim Min HaTorah. If a person lives a life with everything good, Lo Nimchalo HaAvonos. V'men Nimchalo B'Yisurim. This is Shar Tvuna Perek Ches. There's a story told which seems a little bit far out, but there was a tzaddik in the times of the Gra, Rab Leib Slonimer, Rab Leib Tzaddik. His wife passed away, and he was interested in remarrying. So he goes to the shadchan and says, I want you to find me a wife, but of very special qualities. He says the Gemara tells us the person is a wicked wife, then doesn't see Pnei Ganem. So maybe you could find me a wife that's very wicked. Shadchan says, first time I've ever heard that request, but I'll look around. So he finds a certain wife, and he tells this woman has all the milas in the world. She is very much anti-chesed, gets angry at everything and anything. You'll eat morar the whole year round. Says Rab Leib, that's great, wonderful. He marries her, and Palei Plan, the woman is so kind, the woman is so friendly, the woman honors him so much. He goes back to the Shadchan Rab Leib, and he says, Lama Ribizani, what happened over here? Says the Shadchan, I don't know, it's the first time he ever told the truth about a shidduch. I can't understand. I'll speak to the woman. He speaks to the woman, asks her, well, what's going on over here? Says the woman, well, I understand that this tzaddik married me because he thinks that as a result of being married to me, he's going to escape Gehenna. He wants me to do him that chesed. Not over my dead body. I'm not willing to do him that favor. Okay. Of course, the point is that we understand that any suffering a person has in this world comes off his cheshbon. So if we remember to look at the big picture, zoom out, remember the schar we get for keeping our mouths shut, the harm that results from getting involved in machlokas. If we understand the person gets what he deserves, if we keep in mind that Yisurim are mechaper, that perhaps will make it that much easier for us to be mitam midab shal aharon, ohev shalom, rodev shalom, ohev esabrios, and mekavan Torah. Have a wonderful Shabbos.